77% of you are unsubscribed. Please hit the subscribe link below. This video is entitled, The Real Reason People Hate Christians. So last night you watched the Super Bowl and you saw all the stuff coming out, hateful stuff coming out about the, He Gets Us campaign. This is just the latest example of seeing all the hate towards Christians in the media and social media and all over the place. Now some people will say to you, some Christians will be delusioned with the fact that Christ did tell us that if we truly follow him, we will get persecuted by the world. And yes, that is true if you're actually following his teachings and you're actually reading your Bible and following the practices in the Bible. So some of the hate, yes, you're going to get hated because you're telling people the truth of the gospel, and you're following some of the practices of in loving ways that he was still attacked and persecuted, and so we're going to get persecuted as well. So yes, okay, that's part. But I think in the modern Christianity, it's actually a very small part of it. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not doing the things that Jesus was doing in the Bible. For example, okay, so with the Gets Us campaign, a lot of the things that you saw on the posts were you just spent $1 billion on the campaign, not just for Super Bowl, $1 million for Super Bowl, but $1 billion. So that $1 billion could have went to do a lot of the things that Matthew 25 mentions, like healing the sick, taking care of the homeless, feeding those in need. In as much as you've done for the least of them, you've done for me, right? So that's a big thing. There are Christian organizations that have been doing it for decades that these people that are criticizing aren't noting. Like World Vision's been doing it for a long time. Salvation Army will give you food and clothes and help, and then after they've helped you, then say we're doing this because we believe in Jesus and Jesus is the one that helps save. There's organizations that have been doing that for decades, and the people that are complaining about the money should be going to wherever, they should be supporting these organizations. And I guess the ironic thing is that the most popular and top posts that were making this complaint were fellow pastors and were people that work for organizations that are doing some of these things that are saying, hey, that money should be going towards us. And it's like, okay, so there's all those complaints, and then you started getting other people saying, yeah, that money should be going towards those other types of organizations, and then maybe the gospel will get spread. It's like, okay, so those chain of other people that were complaining about it, that aren't working in the field, that aren't supporting these organizations, they're tweeting, but there's no action. And that's, I think, one of the big problems. And a lot of the people that were complaining, when I looked at their profiles, they weren't the hateful world. They were Christians that were attacking and saying, hey, this money should have went somewhere else. Great. Then as a Christian, what are you doing about Matthew 25? Okay? So the next point is, if you look at even just once we entered the pandemic, how much hate have you felt from Christians on the rest of the world? Not like saying, oh, hey, we're spreading the gospel, but we hate you because you're Democrats, or we hate you because you're Republicans, or we hate you because you took the jab, or we hate you because you didn't take the jab, oh, we hate you because fill in the blank. That's not what Jesus was about. He was about love. He was about caring about people. He was about, these are people that we're supposed to be salt and light towards. Jesus said that, they will know you're followers of me by your love, not your hate and intolerance, your love. And that's something that, all the social media stuff that we saw with, around this and around a lot of the things we've seen in 2020 have been hate, not love. Okay. So there's that, and then the next thing is we're hating other Christians. We're dividing and hating other Christians, saying, you believe that and we believe this, you guys are going to hell and we're not, and da 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 da. And it's like, and I mean, the first thing people are going to say is, well, Paul told us to divide against people that are spreading a different gospel. Okay, so when you look at those things that you're disagreeing with other people on, is it the core gospel? I mean, if it is, great, you're following what Paul said. If they're teaching that, you're not saved by grace alone, but you're saved by works, then complain. If they're introducing a new book to say, hey, follow this book as well, complain. If it's stuff that's related to the core gospel of someone getting saved, then yes, complain and divide. But Paul also wrote in Romans 14:1 that, we need to be unified when it comes to, if all we're doing is arguing over disputable matters, like when to Sabbath or what to eat or things like that, then we need to be unified and say, okay, you can eat pork and I won't. You can eat vegetables only and I'll eat meat. Your Sabbath is Saturday, my Sabbath is Sunday, somebody else's Sabbath is, resting in Jesus and then, taking their break when they want to, and other people may not practice the Sabbath. But does that matter to our salvation? No. But what does the world see? The world sees us hating on each other. And, this show called The Chosen is look at all the things that it's doing that aren't in the Bible. It's like, are they bringing people to Christ? Are people coming to your churches because they've seen The Chosen and are being introduced to Jesus? Should that money from The Chosen be going to Matthew 25? Is that your complaint? If that, and it's like, how many secular movies have you went to? And then how many secular songs have you listened to? How many secular books have you listened to? How many things other than the Bible have you purchased, that are for entertainment purposes? But then when something Christian comes out, we immediately attack it. That's what the world is seeing, is that Christians are attacking Christians. And they're like, do we really want to be a Christian if, we're going to be like them, right? And that's something that us as Christians need to understand, is that the real reason people are hateful towards Christians is because Christians are hateful towards everybody else. Whether you're a Christian or not, they see the hate, they don't see the love. So this is something that in 2023, we really need to be showing secret compassion, right? Going out, as Jesus said, and not letting your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and helping people. Helping people without putting up a banner saying, look at how I helped this person, but helping people. Okay? We need to be not hating on each other as other Christians. We need to divide if it's a different gospel, but we need to unify if, it's smaller stuff. All right? The other thing that I didn't mention that I want to mention now is that Christians lash out at you for correcting them. I had a fellow, I'm not going to mention who they are, but I've had a few that they've put something out there and it's been unclear what they've been saying. And so I have corrected them in a tweet because their direct messages are locked down. I'll correct them in a tweet and say, hey, but also this. And then they respond back with, that's what I meant. You didn't read my stuff. You attacked me. Da 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 da. And it's like, no, I was correcting and clarifying for other people reading your tweet that would have misinterpreted it as, saved by works. All right? So those subtle little corrections, you get the backlash. You try and correct anything like that and you get a backlash. And that's Christians against Christians. Right? If you have your direct messages open, then Christians can go into your direct messages and they can say, hey, you may also want to mention this. Right? But if you have them locked down and you have your comments locked down and all of that, then people have no choice but to, if they want to respond, they've got to retweet or they've got to comment because your DMs are locked down. All right. If you provide other methods, then yes, we can follow the methods that the church gave in the Bible to say, hey, approach them one-on-one. Well, you know what? If your post is on social media and you don't have your email address or direct messages open, then it falls down to, a post to correct. So you may not like the post to correct, then open up your direct messages. That's my point there. All right? Christians hate other Christians because they don't help other people. They hate the world. They hate each other. And they will not tolerate anybody correcting them. So that's a wrap-up of the real reason people hate Christians. So in 2023, let's do better to show that we are Jesus followers by the love we have for one another.